the women who actually do the strength training and will do the strength training and very little cardiovascular exercise tend to look the best. They tend to be more toned. They tend to look more fit.
I don't significantly train differently men and women. They're pretty similar. Everyone is going to train all their muscle groups. Everyone is going to lift weights. And there's going to be an element of cardio that is not excessive for both groups.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of Fitness Friday today we'll be with a friend. I'm with my friend Liron, who is a trainer, a fitness coach in LA, who I adore. And I've worked out with him many a times. And we are discussing today what I think a lot of people are curious about, which is training styles for men and women. Do you feel as a trainer that women should train differently than men, or they can train the same?
They can train the same. I think it's just the difference is personality and preference. Women tend to have different personalities than men and different preferences to men. And so within that framework, like if you enjoy the workout, don't be afraid. Like if I was speaking to women, don't be afraid. Like they're scared to lift weights because of some absolute bullshit. Can I say bullshit?
Well, you just did.
Yeah, well, there you go. Bullshit from, social conditioning and stuff. Women are meant to lift weights just as much as men are going to lift weights. They're not going to get as big and muscular, generally speaking, because they have different hormones. And hormones are what dictate how much muscle and where your muscle is going to be placed, right? So women are going to have different strength levels and be able to put different levels of muscle on based on their hormones, because men and women are different biologically, no matter what anyone says, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have to worry about putting on too much muscle or getting bulky or getting unattractive. Women can lift. I don't think that you need to have a different training program for men and for women.
Well, what I believe, I think I'm a woman, is that
Who knows these days?
Yeah, right. I think that women tend to be much more, they gravitate more to cardiovascular exercises. Men gravitate a lot of times to more heavy strength training. And it's a really hard transition for a lot of women. Like I deal with this, like I'm a cardio junkie. And even though I know psychologically, I know theoretically that lifting weights is way better for my overall health with bone density, muscle mass, my metabolism, the benefits, especially as you get older. But just because you know something doesn't necessarily you like act on that thing, right? With men love to lift weights because they want to get swole, they want to get more muscular, blah, blah, blah. The funny thing is, it is actually very interesting because the women who actually do the strength training and will do the strength training and very little cardiovascular exercise tend to look the best. They tend to be more toned. They tend to look more fit. Because I think cardio, especially high intensity cardio, if you're doing for long bouts of time, it breaks down your muscle mass and it makes you look flabby. And
it stimulates your appetite.
Well, I was going to say, and the other thing is it makes you really hungry.
Yeah.
But even if we know that information to be true, a lot of times we still psychologically will do the alternative because it feels good in the moment. So this is something really about instant gratification versus delayed gratification. Because if you're someone who can do delayed gratification, definitely strength training.
Yeah.
But for instant gratification, like getting that true dopamine hit, those endorphins, going through the roof, it's cardio. And this is for me because I know for me, but I know for a lot of girls, like myself, that's the issue.
Mm.
So I think it comes down to not so much even the training. Like, yes, men and women should train the same, but I think on a psychological spot, it's very different because where women go, they think, oh my God, I want to be skinny. And if I want to be skinny, I have to do an hour at least of cardio. But the funny thing is, you'll actually get more body fat that
Mm.
way.
Hmm. Long term, yeah.
Long term,
Hmm.
you'll lose weight short term doing cardio,
Mm.
but not long term because then your body becomes very used to doing that amount of
Oh
cardio.
yeah, and you're kind of breaking your metabolism.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. And then once your body becomes like, it becomes your baseline, like, oh my, your body's now accustomed to doing an hour of cardio, you'll plateau.
Mm.
And then to break that plateau, you'll have to do an hour and 20 minutes.
Hmm.
And then also you get exhausted, your body, then let's talk about the adrenals that you get burnt out on.
Mm.
So that's my personal belief system. But when you train people, for women, for men, um, have you noticed yourself that like the women who do the weights like end up looking way better than the ones
Yeah,
who do
yeah.
cardio?
I mean, my training style for personal training, which I'm kind of transitioning away from, but for personal training, I do half an hour sessions and I don't do cardio. And that's the same for men and women. I don't significantly change my training for men and women. A lot of what I have to do is break this conditioning that women have that they need to be on the treadmill for an hour a day and eat salads and celery and all this. It's just so much nonsense. Like having been in the game for a long time, it just looks laughable to me, but it's very seductive to people. You know,
But
people.
do you feel like, do you do heavyweight with women? So if you're doing a 30-minute
I'll do
session,
so I actually focus more on lower body with women because women just tend
yeah.
to they also have more women tend to have more muscle relative to their body on their lower body than men. Men generally tend to be a bit more top heavy, and there's a reason for that. There's androgen receptors that men have because of testosterone, and there's a whole biochemistry behind that.
Well,
Um,
tell me, what is it? You're
so
saying men carry more weight,
muscle,
more muscle, sorry. Um, upper body?
yes.
That's
This
true.
is why a man can do a pull-up relatively easily, and a woman would have to train for a long time. Can you do pull-ups?
Yeah, that's a great,
You're one in what? One in 100,
that's actually very
realistically?
true. That's a very good point. So men have way more muscular strength upper body wise. That's why pull-ups they can rep them out.
Yeah,
And women have more muscle on their lower body.
yeah,
That's why men, you see these men who are like really swole
yeah,
and they've got these small little legs because
yeah,
they're not working their legs.
yeah.
But yeah, pull up. So what I like to say, what I like to tell women all the time is they need to start working their upper body because they gravitate naturally to their lower body because number one, it's easier. It's more, it's an easier thing to do. It's easier to do a squat than to do a pull up.
Mhm.
But here is the secret, guys and ladies. If you actually work your upper body, you will look symmetrically way better. So if you're carrying more weight
Mm.
on your lower body, actually work your upper body more because if you have broader shoulders, your lower body looks way
Mhm.
smaller and you get that V.
Yeah,
So it's all about like optical illusion and
mm,
and symmetrical training.
yeah.
So I train my upper body a lot. I have like a big butt. I don't care about it. I'm not saying it's good or bad, not at whatever. But because I have a big butt, I need to work my shoulders
Hmm.
more, or
Yeah,
else I'll just look
yeah.
I look what do you call it?
Disproportionate.
Disproportion.
Mm, yeah. I mean, there's
That's a
a
trick that I just
there
try
you
it.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, yeah, both. That's why I said at the beginning, like, I don't significantly train differently men and women. They're pretty similar. Everyone is going to train all their muscle groups. Everyone is going to lift weights, and there's going to be an element of cardio that is not excessive for both groups. In fact,
But you do 30-minute
I do
workouts
30 minutes
all the
only.
time?
For personal training, yeah, for one-on-one. But I also teach boxing classes, which are an hour because you need some technique in there too. And
Also, it's good for your brain. Like when you're doing boxing or anything that has technique in it, it's good for your for your brain to be confused.
Mm,
Like then your body doesn't get confused. That's
yeah,
another trick.
yeah.
Like if you have to think about things that don't come naturally, it helps you
Yeah.
with like just your brain power.
That's how you learn, is through awkwardness. I say this to people all
Yeah,
the time. Like, if something feels awkward, especially when they first start boxing, it doesn't matter, boxing, dancing, whatever it is, playing guitar. Whenever you're learning, whenever you're doing something awkward, that's people are scared of that because we're like, oh, we want to be good and we want to be
yeah.
polished and we want to be perfect at everything. That's not how learning works. Learning works, the awkwardness is where learning happens. That's the learning curve.
Yeah, I agree. I also think for like stuff like that, do what you love. Like if you're gonna have to do like, because the truth is like to be like holistically, when I say fit, I mean like all of the things, like strong, cardio, like cardiovascularly strength, mobility, flexibility. Like do cardio that's fun. Like I like to dance. I'm bad
Mm,
at it. Like
mhm.
I mean, I'm the worst dancer.
Yeah, I've seen you. You got
I
some. I've seen you on TikTok.
I have a
You
okay, fine. I'm really not great. I mean, compared to like my husband, who's like literally a Backstreet Boy,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like embarrassing. And my daughter's like a competitive dancer.
Oh wow.
I have two left feet, but my point is like things can be fun. Like fitness can be fun.
It has to be fun.
Like it has to be fun. Like the biggest question thing, or the biggest thing I always get people ask me is like, what's the best thing to do? And I always say the best thing to do is the thing that you'll actually do,
If I
right?
was to give one takeaway from today, it would be that like fitness should be the thing that you're gonna, yeah, you have to do it like a lot, and you're only gonna do it a lot if you enjoy it. And our society loves to tell people to do shit they don't want to do,
Yeah.
and that's why people fail all the time. I mean, there are times you have to push through. There are definitely times where you're not in the mood. But I always say, think about how you're gonna feel when you leave the workout, not when you get to the
That's what
workout.
I always say. Did you steal that from me?
No, great minds.
Great minds think alike. I love that. Okay, guys. So I guess some takeaways from this episode would be uh, women and men should train very similarly.
Mhm.
It's more psychological than anything that women are much more they gravitate to cardio. But a couple great tips is if you are a woman, don't forget to train your upper body. If you also want for symmetrical, if you for just for vanity
Mm.
purposes, having that symmetrical look, it helps with getting that V shape taper. What's some other ones that we said? You do something that you actually like to do. The best exercise is a thing that you're actually going to do versus what someone tells you to do. Doing things consistently. What else did we say? Short. You said you do. One of your tips is
Shorter, more intense workouts.
shorter, more intense workouts.
Don't
First,
drag ass for 1 hour if you can go hard and go home in 30 minutes.
don't drag ass for 1 hour. That's
Mm.
what Liron says. That's not my wording. And what else did we say? What are some other tips that we can give people to kind of
For women, don't be afraid of weights. Don't be
well,
scared of them.
we know. I mean, people know that, but
Right.
again, it's like try to get over the fear of weights. If you're a woman who's scared, if you want to be skinny, I think that's like a mindset a lot of women
Can I
have.
add one thing on
Yeah.
men and women? I think something I've noticed, and this is a bit more of a tangent, but like men tend to wildly over exaggerate what they think is attractive, what women think is attractive. I don't know about men and women and women, but like if a man wants to attract women, I'm assuming most people do, most men do, they tend to over exaggerate how much muscle they need, right? I've found that most women are attracted to like a soccer player type, which is reasonably muscled, but like, especially in America, some people would say it's skinny, right?
Look at David Beckham.
Right. Right. Look at the guys who all the women want, and they're usually like lean. They're not usually, I don't believe in this dad bod thing. I think that's kind of made up. But it's not, even me, I'm probably too muscular for most
What's a dad
women.
bod, by the way? Isn't like
I
having a
don't
beer
know.
belly?
I don't know. I'm a dad, and this is my body, so
I
I
know.
don't know.
I think,
Am
and you're a
I
soccer
wrong?
player. If you're tooting your own horn, you're like
Yeah.
most women like soccer player looks.
I think a
Yeah,
dad
they do.
Dad bod is an excuse for letting yourself go, I
I
think.
know. I'm
but
just
whatever,
teasing you. Okay.
fair enough. And women do the opposite in the same way on the other side, where they think you need to be rail thin. And I like, dude, my friends are like, dude, she's too skinny. She needs to like eat. Like they say it all the time. And I think nowadays you get like a lot of this plastic stuff. That's a whole new world with like plastic butts and plastic faces. And guys do not find, I've seen so many women just go from like a 9 or whatever to like a 3 because they just become fake. So
That's a great topic. So
it's
hold
a whole
that.
nother thing, I
Let's
think.
talk about
Yeah.
that. Okay, you guys have to listen to the next topic because the next episode, because we're going to go into that. I think that's super true and like fascinating. Okay, guys, remember, if you have not subscribed, please do. It helps us get traction, so we get better guests and we get better
Better than me.
content.
Yeah.
because
Always
God
have
knows
to
we need
sell for
better. And thank you, Liron,
Thank you.
for joining me. And guys, have a great day. See you soon. Bye.